Okay, we're
Awesome.
live. We're
Woo.
live.
I'm doing it.
Just two of us tonight.
Yeah. How
I
you
mean,
been?
you only need a pilot and a wingman.
That's right.
I'm good. I'm good. We're about like 3 weeks behind on laundry right now because
Oh,
so we have a situation where our washer started like it stopped spinning, and like it would get all the way to the last cycle.
hmm
The tub would be full and it would just
yeah.
not spin the water out.
hmm
Okay, so we were able to limp along for a couple days while we waited for a repair person to come out. He came out, took a look at it, and he said, "Oh, it's your actuator." All right, brother, if you say so. I don't know anything about these things. If that's what you say it is, I believe you. And he charged us about 10 times what an actuator costs, from what I could tell. Uh, but if I would have just gone and bought this thing on Amazon, like not even knowing what I was doing, I probably could have, bought one and replaced it and still not known what I was doing. Um, so like it was running when he left, and he's like, "All right, you should be good to go." So next morning, I go to run a load, and it does the same thing.
Oof.
And this is Thursday of last week. So, all right. So I immediately called them. They're like, "All right, we can be out there Tuesday because it's holiday weekend." All right. So they come out Tuesday. They're like, "All right. Turns out it's not the actuator; it's the gearbox, and we're going to charge you another like $250 on top of that. But it's just going to be for the parts. We won't charge you for the labor again." Well,
Gee.
that's good. Uh, oh, by the way, now that you've paid for it, it's going to be 3 to 5 days before we can even get it in.
Like you're getting like a quarter of the way to a new washer.
We're about 3/4 of the way to a new washer.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Ouch.
yeah, yeah. We're about $600 into this now.
Mm.
Yeah, and but but that was Tuesday, and I got a call today. We're ready to schedule you tomorrow for your install. Let's do this.
Oh.
So yeah, we were to the point yesterday where like, all right, basket everything up. I'm going to the laundromat.
hmm
Holden, you need your shirt washed? Let me show you how to wash something in the sink. The dryer works fine. You can throw it in the dryer when you're done
hmm
washing it. But yeah,
Oof.
so that's our fun this week.
Um, like throughout grad school, I did not have money for most things. And so I became, I guess, way overconfident in what I could do with YouTube videos.
I
And so there were many times
understand.
where, like, I took apart the washer to fish out a baby's sock from the pump because we had the problem of it not draining because the pump wasn't pulling the water out
Yep.
because a baby's sock had got stuck in it.
Yep. I understand.
And I'm really pleased that I was able to successfully do this and get the washer running again through many hours of YouTube videos and experimentation.
Yeah. So I've done some YouTube repairs, some of them successfully.
Mm.
And then there was the time that I tried to repair the broken oven door, and I pulled it off the hinge, like you lift it up off the brackets.
hmm
All right. And then something happened, and I'm not sure what, but they locked into place. And like, all right, well, we just need to unlock them. Turns out they don't. They don't
Oh
unlock.
no.
They don't unlock. Uh, so we have a fairly new
Oof.
oven, yeah, because of that one. Now there have been other things like the time that our new um, our new refrigerator had water just dripping from it everywhere. Turns out that was partially my fault because the uh, the filter was poorly labeled, and I actually put it
Mm.
in upside down, even though like all the orientation looked like it that should have been right side up. Like once I pulled out, I was like, oh yeah, it turns out it's not. So I got that fixed. Tore everything apart. Well, there was like water in between the glass,
Oh,
and Julie's like, we just need to yank this. Hang on. And like I did just like 3 minutes of YouTubing, and it was like, yeah, it turns out we need to take these three screws off, and then everything will just lift out. If we would have yanked, that would have been really bad. So
yeah.
yeah, sometimes it really comes in handy.
Hmm.
I've saved a couple of $100 on oh, somebody's there. I've saved a couple of $100 on car keys because the remote locks. My old car, the remote locks started failing, and actually like chipped and broke, and so I needed a new one. So I was able to go buy them on eBay and like did some YouTubing about how to reset the keys. Perfect. Like $50,
Awesome.
I had two brand new keys instead of paying like $350 going to a dealership.
We'll see if Sunny has calmed down. Sorry, get this doggo here.
Oh yeah. He's a good boy.
Hmm.
He's my gaming buddy.
Hmm.
So you guys had a little vacation.
Yeah,
Little
went up to
getaway.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
for the weekend. Um, Claire was wanting to know, like, oh, what could we do? Like, do we have a free weekend in July? We could go on like a road trip. Like, oh, we got 4th of July weekend. And she's like, where can we go? I'm like, wow, Wisconsin. She's like, why? I'm like, oh, wow. There's
It's not
one thing I
hot,
want to see there.
but also it's less hot.
It is, right? And if you're gonna go, summer's the time to go north.
Yep, absolutely.
But I wanted to see House on the Rock ever since reading American Gods, and so that was our main destination. And then Claire is a planning type of person, and so she made a bunch of plans for all the other time of the weekend.
Sure.
So we went to Milwaukee and did a brewery tour,
Nice.
and the lakefront brewery. They had bought the bottling machine from the Schlitz plant that closed down, so it is the bottling machine from Laverne and Shirley
I
and
saw
Wayne's
that
World,
picture. That's really cool. That's very cool.
which is awesome. And they also had some delicious beers. And then we had a fancy dinner at a restaurant called Sanford, which is a 4-course meal. They had morels on the menu, which
Ooh,
are fantastic. I see why people hunt them.
nice.
And we went to a cheese castle, which is really just a store, but it had lots of cheese, and it was shaped like a castle.
Nice. Very nice.
And then up to Door County to Sturgeon Bay and did some like shopping and did a ghost trolley tour. No, we were on a trolley to talk about ghosts. It wasn't a ghost trolley,
Gotcha.
as far as I know.
Well, that at least not until the moon hit it. The
Right?
moonlight hit it.
And it's all a skeleton trolley. Be awesome. But it was campy and fun and interesting. I like stories, and the guy told campfire style stories about
Nice.
various areas.
Yep.
Get to see some pretty views of the lake and other things, cemeteries. And then was House on the Rock, which was just absolutely fantastic. Like everyone should go.
I 100% agree. It's the kind of place that if you don't like the room you're in, or you think it's weird that you're seeing a collection of the things you're seeing, go to the next room,
Mm-hmm.
because it might be something you like, or it may be something even weirder.
And there was so much weird. All the musical automata that the that they had. And,
Yeah, that stuff was really neat. Some of the ones that were just a full room of it was
mm-hmm.
just incredible.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And then I got to do the stuff from the book. Like I got my fortune told by Esmeralda with a coin, and saw
Yep.
the carousel and all those things, which is really cool. And we spent, I don't know, a good 4 hours there. Probably could have done 2 more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lots
And,
of walking.
mhm. I'm interested to go. Like they said in the September, they do nighttime tours, like
Oh, neat.
on spooky months. So I think that would be fun to see.
Yeah.
And I guess they also decorated up for Christmas, but Christmas time does not seem like a time I want to travel to Wisconsin.
Probably not.
If I lived
Probably
there,
not.
maybe.
I mean, it's not terribly far into Wisconsin. It's the near
True.
side of Wisconsin, but
Hmm.
still, yeah.
And then on our last day, we went to the Frank Lloyd Wright estate, the Taliesin,
Hmm.
where his mistress and her children were murdered.
Wow, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I guess Frank Lloyd Wright took a mistress and built this house out in the country so that he'd get a little less attention. And a guy who worked there, like the butler, poured gasoline through the building and set fire to it. And as people came out, axed them in the head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
I mean, that's the way to do it, I guess.
That's one way to do it, right? And so yeah, that was wild. They didn't really talk about that on the tour, which is salacious, but like honestly, the architecture of this building was really fascinating.
Yeah,
Like I didn't mind that we didn't get much of the murder plot,
sure.
because again, it was a really beautiful building, and just the dude's like sense of style and design are really cool. It's the first time I've been to like a Frank Lloyd Wright place, and now I want to visit. I think we got one here in Kirkwood.
I believe so. Yeah, I've not been to any of them.
Yeah, well, it's like now I'm interested to see more because it was, I don't know, it was really cool.
Yeah, I really dug House on the Rock. Um, like the description of it from the book, uh, and how he describes like that is like this mecca of roadside attractions, and it is like the ultimate
Mhm.
roadside attraction. And then once you go there and hear the story of how it came to be, like it really is just the ultimate in roadside attractions, just a word of mouth roadside attraction hodgepodge. It's just wild.
It is.
And the infinity room is really neat too.
Oh yeah,
That's something that's not talked about quite as much, I think. But yeah, that's really neat. That's a really neat vista there.
and it was nice and windy when we were out there, so you could feel it
Oh, even better.
swaying. Hmm.
Yeah, we got up there, and of course, we're out there, and it's just the four of us. We went like during the week, and it was early in the summer, so there wasn't a lot of people traffic in and out of the place. And so we were in the infinity room area by ourselves, and so we're walking out there, and Julie's like, "Is this swaying?" And so Holden and I start jumping.
Oh, rude.
Yes, yes, it is. See?
I love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. It was great.
the
I really dug that place.
so like it's like set up in like 3 sort of like main buildings with a bunch of stuff in them, and they have like these covered walkways that like connect them.
Hmm.
The ceilings in those covered walkways are like at about a 6'4",
Oh,
and I'm at about a 6'6", so I had to
yep.
like hunch throughout this whole thing like a
Yeah, there are some tight squeezes in there too, just in
there
general.
sure were.
Yeah.
And those it's always so funny to me because I'm already kind of a monster, but then like to like hunch through and like emerge into a larger space is just wild.
Yep.
People are like, "Mm." When we were at the Frank Lloyd Wright house, he does that on purpose in some of the architecture where it's a low enclosed place, so you feel a little trapped, and then you emerge into this giant space of a room.
Oh, that's cool.
It is, and it does make it. I mean, it does give you a feeling like when you like go through that transition. But there was one room where the ceilings were, about at my jaw, and then there's like this big like skylit area, and I was able to stand up straight in there. And so someone on the tour was like, "Can I take your picture?" I'm like, "Okay." I know why you're doing this.
Sure.
It's fine.
Take a picture of the giant.
Right. Okay.
All right, let's kick the tires on this. Hey, this is Tony,
Oh, this is Mitch.
and
Empty
we
age, Harden.
and we are the Backseat Producers. No David this week. Concert, I think he said he was going to. I don't know.
Mm,
Plus, also,
I think it
he's
was
kind
a
of a
concert.
yeah. I think he's also kind of a tool about movies that he doesn't. He's not seen, and then makes a point not to see because
Mhm.
he hasn't seen them. So
Let's do Ghostbusters next time.
yeah,
The-
yeah. Famously, how he famously avoids Ghostbusters. Um, all right, so this week we're talking about Top Gun Maverick. What
Mhm.
did you think of Top Gun Maverick?
My view from above the hard deck is this, 5,000 feet. It was, I liked this movie the same way I liked the original Top Gun. Um, and I think that's it. That's the capsule.
Yep, same. I'm right there with you. It is. It's not the same movie, but it is the same movie.
Hmm.
Like it's they do some of the same. They hit the same beats, um, but then add some things to amp up the nostalgia
Hmm.
and to. Um, but it's also like it also hits the same beats the way they do it. So let's just
Hmm.
go right into the spoilers and everything.
The danger
Um,
zone.
straight to the danger zone.
They wasted no time getting to that song.
No, and you know what? I was fine with let's
Hmm.
open the movie with that song. Okay,
It
great.
it really made me confident this movie knew what it was.
Yeah, yeah. Like we're not gonna shy away from the fact that this movie is a sequel and Top Gun, and Maverick is 60 years old. Well, I mean, he wasn't when he made the movie because they made this movie like 2 years ago, but he
Oh,
just had a 60th birthday. Like I think this last week. Um, yeah,
right.
this movie is what it is.
Yeah. One thing I thought about with that particular, like the age of Maverick, and this, I guess, kind of the movie in general, is that I don't have like personal experience like in the military,
Hmm.
nor am I really. I'm not like a jet fanboy. That they're the people who love the planes of the military and they're like fans of the military, even if they weren't directly involved.
Hmm.
And that's not me, right?
Right.
So I don't really have a place where I can stand and point with some sort of authority to be like, that's not how this works, which I think works for this movie in its advantage.
I believe you are correct.
Okay.
Um, because I do have a little bit more because my dad was in the Air Force.
Mhm.
I grew up on military bases. Um,
So how often do people steal planes?
yeah, that's something that is generally fairly frowned upon.
Mhm.
I mean, I had a friend in who, growing up, he got shoplifting at the Base Exchange, which is like kind of like
Mhm.
I think a department store for people who aren't familiar. Um, it's the on base department store. Um, he got caught shoplifting, and you know, if that were to happen at like Walmart, you get a slap on the wrist. Might call the cops, scare you, and send you home with your parents. His dad got called in and got talked to about it,
Mhm.
like affecting his career, kind of talked to about it.
Oof.
So I feel like stealing a plane is just a tad more problematic.
And I guess I would have assumed more security around them and
Yeah.
procedures to make it so you couldn't just like hop in one and go. Like lots
Yep.
of steps along the way where it would be, I don't know, stopped.
Yeah, and this happened. I mean, really, it happened 3 times in the movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
So there's that.
And
Um,
like, yeah,
his age
yeah.
is another thing. I mean, he was Tom Cruise's actual age was 58.
Hmm.
All right. The original movie was made in 86.
Hmm.
This movie was made 24 years later. No, sorry, 34 years later.
Right.
Let me get my math right on that. 34 years later. Uh, that would put Tom Cruise's age at 24 years old. All right, so he's 58 years old in this movie. My brother is the one that pointed this out. I'm going to all credit due to my brother Doug, who pointed this out on Father's Day. Um, that so we have a 58-year-old teaching these pilots who are already graduates of Top Gun, and he's teaching Goose's son. Goose's son was 4 years old, and I double checked because the twins that played Goose's son were actually 4 years old when that movie was made, making them 38 years old when
Oof.
when this movie was made. So we have a 58-year-old teaching a 38-year-old things that he should already be good at. The other thing he
Hmm.
made a point to point out, I guess he was told to shush a few times by his wife, who is an extreme Top Gun fan.
Oh,
The original movie, she is a huge Top Gun fan from the original movie, and she was telling him to shush quite a bit because he was doing things like, you know, it's illegal to not wear a helmet in California.
that did bother me a lot. When
But
people are on motorcycles without helmets to look cool, I'm like,
yeah,
that's like putting cigarettes in people's mouths, in high schoolers' mouths to look
yep,
cool.
yep,
Come on now, you're just hurting
yeah,
people.
yep. Uh, but I mean, he is supposed to be dangerous.
He's a maverick, breaking the law.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess I don't know everything there is to know about anatomy and physiology, but I was kind of under the impression that, living in sustained G's isn't something that you get better at, that doing it more frequently is just worse for you.
I would think.
Right? If the expanse taught me anything, is that high G's can cause an aneurysm over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just feel like you wouldn't want a 58-year-old to be your test pilot. I feel like you would get worse at staying conscious under high G, not better at it.
I mean, I think there was that, but also he is more expendable.
That's true.
I guess. I mean, he's already dangerous.
Right?
So if he's also more expendable on top of that,
Yeah, no wife, no kids. Put them in
yeah,
a test. Send them to Mach 10.
yep, yep. Uh, that movie or that move in this movie solidified exactly what this movie was going to be
Mhm.
after playing Danger Zone during the opening credits. It yeah, don't think about this movie too hard.
Right.
I I mean, we're watching the movie and when they I can't help but think a little bit while I'm watching the movie. It's really hard to turn my brain off. And like the things that I was noticing first when they first get to the point of telling us what the mission is,
Mhm.
we've got to go to the base. They're very careful about like they don't even say what continent this base is on.
No.
There is a base
Mhm.
with a river and some mountains with this really weird structure that just happens to give them the trench run.
Yep.
Like they're giving this, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Star Wars.
They're doing
Oh my
Star
god, this is
Wars.
Star Wars. This is Star Wars. And Julie turns around to me and she says, "Isn't this Star Wars?"
Yeah, have a direct
Yep.
hit into the ventilation shaft.
Yep. Yep. Except two. We have to do it
Right.
twice.
And we also have his target computer is off.
Yep. Yep. Gonna do it by
Ooh.
feel.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like if you okay, right? Like if you accept where this movie is saying things are, right? You accept that this guy becomes a test pilot, and you accept that this is the mission, and this is the only way you can do this mission, which to me did not. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
No. No.
Like if you can shoot a fleet of Tomahawk missiles to destroy a runway, I feel like you can shoot them to destroy some sand batteries. But this is fine.
Maybe.
Right. You said it's the only way to do it. I'm just going to trust you, movie.
Yep.
Who am I to second guess an admiral's strategies?
Yeah, right. Admiral John Hamm.
Ooh, yeah. And everyone in the Navy, very attractive.
They're all very pretty people. I mean, we
Right.
learned that in the first Top Gun movie.
That is true.
They are all very pretty people.
Right. To be a fighter pilot, you need charisma 17.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's definitely one of the requirements for that class. Right. And they said something that didn't make sense to me because they were trying to explain why they couldn't just use stealth bombers to bomb it, which I assume is how we actually take care of any problems anywhere.
I would think.
And they said it was GPS locked because it's in a valley. I'm like, oh, okay. You're using lasers though. Like lasers don't care about valleys.
Yeah,
this is fine.
I mean, if you just say that, I'm just gonna go along with it.
Right.
I mean, you know what? You might as well just use nanotech.
Right. Exactly. Right. So we'll just accept it. The only things that really bother me for that, because like I'll go with a movie when they do it, like that's part of the contract audience to movie. Like I can suspend some amount of disbelief.
Sure.
But when they like violate those rules that they set up,
yeah,
I get annoyed.
I am with you there.
And I think that they avoided doing that by having themes in the movie set up otherwise, right? We had all this big deal of why you had to go fast, right? Because these somehow fifth generation fighters of an unnamed regime
fifth generation fighters,
right? Okay, are better equipment, right? And that was a huge like threat of why we had to do the mission this way, because we were just going to get wiped out by them.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to it,
okay,
but they give us that out.
But they did a thing in this movie, like they did a thing, and I remember going, whoa, I've never seen a plane do that. Like I said that out loud, and then one of the characters said, I've never seen a plane do that. Like that plane stopped in midair. It was just like, I guess that's what they mean by fifth generation fighter. Okay, you've won my stupid argument.
Well, yeah, and then we also get the or sort of out. It's not the plane, it's the man or whatever.
Yeah, which is it's the was it the John Henry against the train? It's
that steel driving man.
Yep, yep. It's
Paul
the man versus the machine. Yeah.
And this was totally on the side of Maverick.
It was only ever gonna be.
Right. And so I went with it for all of that too, and was excited through all of these things. So I know I feel like I started by saying I like this movie, and then I've just done my litany of complaints. But like
the thing is, I mean, if you're going to see a movie called Top Gun, and you're going knowing you're going to see Tom Cruise at the age of almost 60 being a fighter pilot, you've already suspended some disbelief just by putting your money down.
That is true.
I mean, so I think it's fair to say that it is a nostalgia movie, it is. I mean, it's thick with it, and it does some things really well.
Hmm.
But there are problems.
Hmm.
The first one had problems.
Oh yes.
You
Yep.
know, it's it's kind of like when we talk about Star Wars,
Hmm.
and everybody loves to gush about how great Star Wars is.
Hmm.
The original trilogy,
I knew which ones you meant.
until you watch those movies again
Hmm.
critically as an adult, putting your phone away, watching them in a space where you have to focus on the story. There are things that stop making sense.
Right.
There are a lot of things that stop making sense.
Yes.
Uh, but we forget those because that's not where our fun is.
It is true. Well, and then like I don't know. There's a lot of other fun to have in Star Wars,
Yeah.
like picking apart stuff now that there's so much of an extended universe and all these other movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Are you short for a stormtrooper? It's because they're all clones. They're not now, but like what? Like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
all
When
this
you
is
can go
exciting.
back and retro in a lot that stuff, that's
Hmm.
fun. That's fun. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about the fun stuff that they did
Yeah.
with this movie because there is a lot of fun stuff that they did with this.
Hmm.
I was not aware of this. Julie told me, and she didn't remember. She had seen an article about it. So uh, I love Jennifer Connelly.
Oh yeah.
I have I have loved her many years.
Hmm.
Uh, she and I are within I think like 6 months in age of each other. So it's not weird when I say
Sure.
I loved her when I saw her when she was 15 years old in a movie because I was also 15 years old at that time.
It was an age appropriate crush at the time.
It absolutely was. And I think she's made a lot of wonderful movie choices in her
Hmm.
career. So the character she plays in this, Penny, the Admiral's daughter,
Hmm.
is actually a character that is named dropped in the first movie. And I wasn't aware of this. So,
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah, I guess at one point, uh, Goose's wife, Meg Ryan, is talking about his girlfriends, like Kelly McGillis's character.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, he told you about her, and she's like, yeah, he tells me about all of them. He told me about Penny, the Admiral's daughter,
Nice.
and that is like that character was in name in the first Top Gun movie, so that's kind of cool. Uh, but it puts into question how old Penny was because Penny's my age. At 51, that would have put her at 15 in 2000 in that would have been actually she would have actually been yeah, she would have been 15 when that
Ew.
movie was made. Either that or they're just saying Jennifer Connelly just looks good as a mid 50s-year-old woman instead of
Yeah.
an early 50s-year-old woman.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
sketchy.
yeah, that's a little bit sketchy.
But fun that they made the connection. And
It
that's great.
it's a fun connection. Um, I loved absolutely everything they did with Iceman.
Uh huh.
I did. I really did enjoy that. Like for a while there, I was questioning whether he was going to be in it, but then I had heard like, no, he's in it. We wouldn't have done this without him. Like I had heard that in interviews. So, uh, and Sonny must be acting up again. um, uh, so I heard that he was going to be in it, and he was in it, and then in the movie we just start seeing the text conversations with Ice. I was like, all right, that's nice. But then I remembered in the trailer that there's a funeral. We see a funeral in the trailer, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be Iceman's funeral. Like I just felt it. Well, then they had a sequence in the movie where uh, a one of the training missions goes bad. It's like, oh, maybe it won't be. Maybe there will be a training mission death like in the original. But no, nope, it was ice.
Yeah. I was pretty nervous about the training mission disasters. I was like,
uh, yep, yep. See. That's the thing is when we first started, I had two dogs, and on very very rare occasions they would go crazy. Uh, but we were recording only at the time, so we could always just pause, settle them down, edit that out later. Now that we're Facebooking,
sorry.
YouTubing, that's fine. You know what?
They're
We love
simmering
we love our
people.
dogs. It's fine.
Mhm. Yeah, so I thought the stuff with Iceman was great. And so like that's a good like nostalgia moment for those of us who are familiar with the original movie. But I think if you hadn't seen the original movie, that relationship isn't deep. Like I mean, it's tropey, right?
Yep.
We already know what the relationship is between these two people. Like the moment they're in that moment, it wasn't actually any deeper in Top Gun, so like it's totally fine.
No, and if you know who the actor is, even now,
Mhm.
they show enough photos of them from the original that you see photos of him with young Val Kilmer, young Tom Cruise with young Val Kilmer, shots from the movie that they have as stills. Who's taking those pictures, by the way? Uh, because there are some weird moments that they have captured on photograph, um, which it's another weird little complaint. Um,
Right.
Julie and I were joking about that, both in the old photographs, and I think there was one toward the end where they show a photograph from the final sequence that of the two leads. It's like,
Right.
who took that picture?
Well, and that's what I thought. Like I thought maybe that was them saying, like, there's always a guy at the end of missions taking pictures. That's why we have these other ones too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What would have been great is if somebody was just there, just snapping pictures with their cell phone camera or something.
Right. And then printing them out
Yeah, yeah.
for some reason. Yeah.
Well, we know Maverick's an old man. He's gonna want a hard copy of that.
Mhm. And I think in the same way, the um, goose nostalgia was also so tropey that like we didn't actually like whether you've seen the original Top Gun or not, you understand everything about this past that these characters have.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and they did a really great job with casting Miles Teller.
Oh yeah.
I thought, I'm digging him more and more in the things I see. I've seen him in
Mhm.
stuff years ago, and I could take him or leave him. But things that I've seen him in recently, I really appreciate him more as an actor now. I think he's matured nicely and has gotten some good roles. I thought this was a great one, and him with that mustache, like he walked on the screen and it was like, all right, you're Goose's kid.
I know,
You
like
can't be anybody but.
shout out for hair and makeup on this one.
Yeah.
That team, like that did like 60% of the acting that he needed to do was
Oh
in that
yeah.
mustache.
Yep.
And so some talented makeup and hair folk. Moi. I got that done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought he was great as Goose's kid.
How
Rooster.
Rooster? Yeah.
The the I don't know, Iceman analog, I guess. Hangman. What he just I mean, that dude has mastered smuggery.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He's very smug. So interestingly enough, Miles Teller is 35 years old.
Oh, all
So
right.
he is fully 5 years younger than uh he is. He had not been born when the original came out.
Wow.
Yep.
Hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. I recently watched him in The Offer on Paramount Plus. It's
Oh yeah, I don't know that.
it is so The Godfather.
Uh-huh.
It is the telling from Al Ruddy. it's Al Ruddy was the producer of The Godfather, and Miles Teller plays Al Ruddy, and it's a 10-episode miniseries about the making of The Godfather.
Interesting.
I really dug it. Now it is. Uh, I watched it with a grain of salt, just because this guy tells some stories about himself that are like, that doesn't seem like it's how it would have happened, but you were there and I wasn't, so I'll let this one slide. And there are a lot of those stories that happen. Um, but it was actually, if you enjoy The Godfather, I think it's a fun 10-hour miniseries to watch.
Mhm. That's the one I haven't seen. That's my Ghostbusters.
Yep.
I haven't
Oh,
seen The Godfather.
oh, that is one I will always recommend.
I feel like it's totally in my wheelhouse of movies that I would like and of the style. I just haven't ever seen it.
Yeah, it's tough though now. I would be curious for you to see it at this point, having seen other movies
Oh
that
yeah.
have come after it, because there are a lot of movies that do crib from this, because it was kind of, they did some pretty groundbreaking things at the time, not only in their storytelling, but in like their, like in the way they released the movie,
Hmm.
things like that. Um, they were one of the first films to release wide. At the time it was all right. We've got so many reels of the film, and they'll just make their way around the
Oh,
country. And
right.
they're like, nope, we're going to print X number of copies, and we're going to get it out as many places as we can. It's like, that's insane. Why would we do that? Because if it bombs, we've got this huge extra investment in it.
Hmm.
He said, but if it doesn't, and if people are talking about it, then everybody's talking about it, and everybody wants to see it. So, I mean, they did some things like that with the movie, and they talk about a lot of that stuff.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would like that. I like the inside baseball type of films about films.
Yep, yep.
I'd be into that.
Hollywood really likes those too.
Mhm.
They nominate them a lot for things.
Yeah. Every, I mean, Vanity Projects is every project there. So
Yeah,
this makes
yep.
sense. I also noticed, dude, Miles Teller is in that thing that looks not so great on Netflix, Spiderhead.
He is. He looks like he's the other lead in that one, along with Chris Hemsworth.
Or, mhm. And it's directed by the same guy who did this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what's his name? Joseph Kaczynski.
Huh.
Yeah. And before that, he directed, I don't know, like a Taco Bell web short. So this all makes sense. Oh, and Tron Legacy. So,
I did like Tron Legacy.
Mm-hmm. Another nostalgia
It
hit,
is.
right?
It is. But man, I love Tron. I unapologetically love Tron, and
Mm-hmm.
will go back to that well every time.
End of line.
I was really hoping that they were gonna make the third movie in that sequence with I'm blanking on his name. He played Scarecrow in the Chris Nolan Batman movies.
Oh, it's Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because Cillian Murphy was in some of the boardroom sequences, and he was a known person at the time. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
why do you have him in that role in this movie? And it's like, it is totally setting stuff up for later, for another movie that they just never made.
Yeah, in the production of this, because I looked up, those kind of things. There were 5 writers.
That's not a
Yeah,
surprise.
2 for story, 3 for screenplay. Because I'm just like, there's not that much story. I mean, to have done here.
No.
No, there's nothing surprising or innovative or weird. It's all solid. I'm not mad about it, right? It all is everything you need for an action plot to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. It sets up some kick-ass plane fights.
The plane cinematography was awesome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing. I felt like we were actually watching cockpit footage, and we probably were. I mean, knowing how serious Tom Cruise is about this stuff, I think we were. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they shortcutted a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked really great. And the way all of those things were shot, because I mean, it's interesting to think about how you're going to make an action sequence feel important and have sense of space in the sort of 3D volume in which they have to do this at speeds and all this. But like, I felt like I understood why the maneuvers they were doing were working to have the effects that were happening on the screen. Like, all of it sort of like made sense to experience. So good flight choreography.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we talked about that with the fight choreography last week with
Mhm.
RRR, and I think Top Gun Maverick does that also. I never felt lost in the
Right.
fights, unless it wanted me to. Unless it
Hmm.
wanted me to feel disoriented. I think then it worked.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you want that.
Hmm.
You want that effect. But no,
And they looked really cool. Like I said, I'm not
really
like a
did.
plane fanboy, but like these planes looked really cool. I was excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or there's a
It
sequence where like an engine's on fire and they're trying to go through steps, and even the sort of like panic sequence, I'm still understanding what they're trying to do, why it's not working, and it's a very short amount of time, but like I'm with them for that whole sequence, which I thought was just a good job on planning that and editing it, because I could see how that chaos could have just been like chaos for me too, but no,
yeah.
it was good.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I was a little bit confused about at
Hmm.
first, and it became a little more clear as we were going, because like Julie even mentioned at one point, she's like, why do some of the planes have one pilot and some of the planes
Ah,
have
yeah,
two? Like, like that didn't there wasn't a lot of explanation behind that. And I feel like maybe there was something it feels like maybe there was something cut just to explain that thing, but it kind of explained itself away when you realized that one person was doing the thing and then the other group was doing the other thing, and you had to do it in that order without explicitly explaining it out, you know,
right.
for the doofuses in the back row, which
Because they
for
do
a few
talk
minutes I
about it.
felt like one.
Yeah, because they do talk about it like from the beginning when they're describing the mission. You're going to take 6 people in 4 planes.
Yeah, but
Because I was a little confused when they were describing that. I'm like, wait, are there 3 groups of 2? No, there's just 4 planes. And 6. All right.
yeah, and I noticed when they were showing some of the animations of when they were like showing how the planes were going to enter the chasm, the crater, and do the thing. Like the two planes had single and dual under them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's what's happening. These are single pilot, dual pilot. It's supposed to be that way.
Oh, yeah. I just did a quick search and they have a F-18, maybe Hornet and Super Hornet being single and double things, I guess.
All right.
So that's my guess. But yeah, that's a normal thing for the different like configurations of their. Yeah, see, this is the whole thing. I don't really have a place to stand to pretend to be an expert here.
Well, well, well. Look who decides to chime in.
Uh-huh.
Um,
You want Young
yeah,
and Vile? I can talk about Pokemon.
I can't. I can talk about reading the articles in um, CBW when that was coming to the U.S. They were
Nice.
talking about how weird the name was. Like we had to do a name change when they brought it to the US because the literal translation was pocket monsters. And they're like, no, 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 we can't
Yeah,
call it that. We have to call it something else. So they
got your
named it
pocket monster right
Pokemon.
here. Yeah.
Yep. Like that's the one thing that's my one little bit of trivia that I can add about Pokemon was uh was an article that I read in whenever the early 90s.
Nice. Yeah, I guess Pokemon's also not young and vital. It's been around for quite some time.
Really?
Oh, let's talk about that cartoon, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
We could talk about that the Lady Gaga track from the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The taking my breath away analog to
Mhm. That's the one to hold my hand here.
yeah, I mean the movie really did try to hit the same beats
It really
as
did.
the original. And we had a training accident, and then a little while later we had a funeral, and we had the doubt over whether we should be doing the thing.
Hmm.
Like all the same story beats are there, and that was okay. Like it's the movie. It would have felt weird if they missed them, or they tried to do something so wildly different.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most wildly different thing they did with this movie was the pilots weren't all white dudes.
They weren't.
That was, I think, the one wildly different thing. That and not naming the bad guys,
That's also true.
because in the previous movie we knew who the bad guys were, but we
Right.
could have bad guys because we still had bad guys because we were,
The
we still had the
80s, there
Soviet
was a
Union.
very different bad guys.
Yeah, we had bad guys that we could name. Also, we weren't trying to cater to a global market, which
Yep.
which is part of it too. Because the other thing I noticed about the bad guys were they all had black mirrored visors.
Right.
You never saw any skin tone of any bad guy.
Right.
Even on the ground, everything was obfuscated through smoke or distance. You couldn't tell
Mhm.
any nationality
Yeah.
or racial differences. You didn't know if they were white or Asian or South Asian or Middle Eastern. No idea,
I'm
none.
pretty sure it's Iceland.
I'm yeah,
Mhm.
probably.
That's where those fifth gen fighter
Yeah,
are coming from.
they're all stationed in Reykjavik,
Yeah, exactly.
where we already have an air force base. We should just launch from there instead of the Navy.
I do feel like aircraft carriers usually have other boats, ships around them
You would think. And there were
because
probably subs. There was probably that sub that was
that's
was
right.
hiding out under, chasing away the Russian subs.
Yeah, there you go. But again, like I said, no expertise there. Oh,
Yeah.
I remember. I was talking about the writing team for this
Oh
too,
yeah.
right? Because there's like 5 people, and when I was looking into him, the main guy, Peter Craig, he also wrote the Batman,
Oh.
and he is working on Gladiator 2 right now. Gladiator 2.
Um.
Last Blood. Nope. I
What?
don't know what the subtitle for Gladiator 2 could
What?
be. Maximost. Nope.
I vaguely remember that movie. I
Oh.
I I watched it
Hmm.
and wasn't crazy about it.
Oh. This I I haven't watched it in years, but when it came out,
Hmm.
I was crazy about it. Like it was one of those things that like I don't know for why that it really caught me. It's also when we had gold dollar coins being
Oh yeah.
promoted, And so I paid in gold every time I went to see that movie, and I saw it several times in the theater because I'm that kind of nerd.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
Meh, meh.
I was looking for goofs in the movie,
Oh,
but most of them are not great. Most of them are really real inside baseball from things.
hmm.
They're not actually that fun.
I would definitely say that as like a recommendation. If I was talking to someone who liked Top Gun, then this is a safe movie for you to watch. You will like this too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you enjoyed Iron Eagle, I think this would also be in your wheelhouse.
Any of the Iron Eagle movies,
It is
because there were
the,
like three of them, three or four.
the Ironer Eagle.
I mean, this doesn't have Louis Gossett Jr. in it, but
Hmm. I always think of him from Enemy Mine. Right?
that's
That's him,
another
right?
really good movie. I love that movie.
Uh-huh.
There were at least 4 Iron Eagle movies.
Wow.
There was Iron Eagle, which was 2 years after the original Top Gun. So get this, we had 4 Iron Eagle movies in the span of time that it took to get a second Top Gun movie.
Uh-huh.
We had Iron Eagle in '86. We had Iron Eagle 2 in '88. Aces, Iron Eagle 3
Hmm.
in '92, and Iron Eagle 4 on the Attack,
Oof.
1995.
Gosh, this had to be direct to video, right? Were those in
I
theater?
feel like that one was. I'm pretty sure the first 3 went. Okay, yeah, it was direct to video. 4 was direct to video. Let's see, it was 3.
Hmm. Yeah, 92 is a little early for some direct to videos.
Yep. Yeah. So what's really funny is the kid in those movies
Yeah.
was he was actually in the second one. Oh, I'm sorry. Iron Eagle 2, The Battle Beyond the Flag.
Nice. Oh, that's a title.
That is a title.
Someone in the marketing department probably added that tagline, and they
Wow.
just nailed it that day.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a huge line of Coke.
Fellas, I got it.
We got this.
Battle beyond the flag.
Yep. Lou Gossett was in all 4 of those movies.
Chappie.
Jesus.
Oh, the Legend of Chappie's Gold. That's what they needed.
That was
Oh,
the point and click adventure game they
oh, it'll be coming on Kickstarter, and
Mm,
David can fund it.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Enemy of Mine was really great. That's one of those movies that if I'm flipping around television late at
Oh yeah,
night, I see that on. That's one of those movies that I will watch to the end, no matter where I'm at in it.
yep, it's classic. Love it. Love that kind of sci-fi.
Oh yeah, yep.
Mhm.
That one and uh, Alien Nation.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I watched the end of that the other day, a couple weeks ago.
And then they did the series based on Alienation. Which
Yep,
I remember watching some of that.
that was actually pretty good too.
And I thought the District 9 captured a lot of the vibe of
Yes.
Alienation.
Yep. Yeah, District 9 was really great.
Mm-hmm. And I guess District 10 is in the works.
It's been in the works for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's been in the works for a really long time. I remember when we This podcast has been around a while. We did that one as a contemporary movie. Like when District 9 came out, we did that one week. And at a similar time to that, the movie 9 came out.
Oh, was that the one with the Sack Boys?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. So that was a YouTube short.
Mm-hmm.
It was short. It was like 15 minutes long, 10, 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
The short was amazing. I retroactively went back and watched the short because that movie was not great.
Right.
That movie was not really good.
Because it was about 15 minutes of material stretched, and when you stretch a sack boy that much, it's gonna tear.
It's gonna rip. You're gonna find out what exactly is inside a Sackboy, and nobody wants that.
That movie came apart at the seams. Oh, okay. We can do
literally.
I felt that way about the first movie of Saw, because like it was a student film first. There was like 45 minutes, and it was all in the box, and so then they stretched it into a whole movie, and the only good parts of the movie is all the stuff that happens in the box.
Yep.
Like all the surrounding stuff is either unnecessary or clunky or just kind of boring. But the box was still really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I still enjoyed the first Saw movie, but then I saw like the next one. I was like, okay, now it's just torture porn.
Yeah. Yeah. Years after Saw came out, I saw it for the first time, and it was like, I think Saw 2 and 3 were already out, and I was actively avoiding them. But I had a friend who was like, "You got to watch the first one. You can avoid the rest of them, but you should actually watch the first one." And I went back and watched it. It was like, all right, yeah, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah, and you can see where the good is.
Yes,
right.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Oh, this is innovative. This is interesting. This is a cool turn.
But then they just kept trying to replicate that, and then other movies tried to replicate that too, and it's like, the found footage genre with Blair Witch was kind of the same thing. I remember seeing that movie when it came out in the theaters and like not being spoiled on it. And that was, if I'm remembering right, that was in '99, because I want to say that Julie and I went and saw that on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
So like we saw that and it was like, man, this is really good.
It might have been earlier than that, because I feel like I was still in high school. Blair Witch. Yeah, 2016. Nope, that cannot be right. That's the most recent remake. Sorry.
No.
Blair Witch Project is what I need to look up. 99 is what it is. Yep. That's it.
Yep. Because I remember actually that was a really interesting time for movies, because we saw, I'm pretty sure on our honeymoon we saw that and The Sixth Sense.
Oh wow.
And you want to talk about like, man, two wild movies that like at the time were just, you walk out of the movie theater just going, man, I've never seen anything like this. And now, found footage stuff is hard not to find. And there have been a few that have been done well.
Well, and also they sort of learned that it doesn't need to be quite so shaky.
Right.
They found the balance of, this is a real movie.
Yeah.
And this is amateur. They found a good balance between the two.
Yeah. Like Cloverfield was okay. But I think we should have learned who J.J. Abrams was with that movie.
Yeah.
Like, and we keep hiring him for things and then get surprised when he just delivers something that's to the level of quality of Cloverfield.
A lot of lens flare.
Oh my God. And I actually really appreciated Chronicle too.
Is that the one where the kids get powers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
There was some fun stuff with that, because that one does some things toward the end of the movie where it's like, all right, you're breaking your rules about this being found footage. But then you realize like one of the kids has the ability to manipulate technology. So he's actually flying around with cell phones. Like you see them flying around in a fight, and then circling around them are just cell phones. It's like, you got me. You got me. Okay. Cell phones don't have that good of camera. but you win this one. Like you at least explain how you have a camera there.
Yeah. I think my weird double movie weekend it was the same day because I did a double feature. I saw Independence Day
Mm,
and Seven, and everyone raved about Independence Day. I'm like, oh no, you got to go see this in the box movie. Like, it is going to be the one you remember.
yeah.
I mean, I love the effects in Independence Day. That was a fun ride and a good breakout for Will Smith. But the Seven, like, come on, that's a film.
It is, but I there were parts that
Oh,
I didn't like. I didn't like parts of 7. Like the last half of 7 kind of falls apart for me.
oh yeah. I think I probably want to could rewatch this now and see different things because I am interested in like how it holds up compared to like mid '90s whenever it came out.
Right.
Especially when I think about how the timing of things must have had to have happened to make the movie like work. How much serendipity is there to make this work?
Right. Right. Um and it helps that you have I mean, Kevin Spacey is fairly unknown at the time.
Yeah.
So he kind of blends in, so it makes it easy
Hmm.
to to get away with some things with having him as an actor in that movie. Um yeah. Yeah, I can see that that's quite a whiplash movie there for you.
Uh-huh. That was a weird double feature.
Yeah. Uh, so let's see. I'm trying to remember which exact movie it was. Uh, so here's a pair of movies that I saw on the same day. Star Trek Episode 5, The
Oh,
Final Frontier,
sure.
and Batman, the Tim Burton Batman movie.
Wow.
And all right, so the story there is uh it was right after I graduated high school, 1989. I was a couple weeks after that, was in a car accident, and so I couldn't work. Um, like I was fine, but like I had stitches on my knees, and like I couldn't move my legs much without them just bleeding profusely. So my boss was like, "Until your stitches are out, you cannot come back to work. Just please don't come back to work." Like, dude, I'm fine. He's like, no, you're not allowed to come back until you're so like I had a bunch of free time and this is the late 80s and like I'm a big comic book guy at the time. Me and my buddies want to go see Batman on opening night. There's a theater that no longer exists that's in Belleville that was in Belleville and it had this just a gigantic screen. Like comparable to what a an IMAX screen would be, but like also just a huge theater space to be in. Just it's just huge. Um, so we're like, we're gonna go there, and we're gonna go see the movie. We need somebody to get the tickets. Well, you can only buy the tickets the day of. You can't pre-buy the tickets. There's none of that. Um, and then you have to wait in line because there's no assigned seating or anything. So
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to take one for the team. I have literally nothing else to do all day. I can't drive because my legs. Somebody just drive me to Belleville, drop me off. I'll buy all our tickets and I'll wait in line. I got nothing else to do the entire day. So I get there at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, buy the tickets for the 7 o'clock show. I got nothing else to do. Like, I guess I'll see this other movie that's going on over here.
Nice.
And so that's when I saw The Final Frontier. It was a fine way to kill an afternoon.
Sure.
But
Nice.
yeah.
I saw both of those in the theater.
Yep.
I remember that. I was into Star Trek enough. I hadn't really done the original series right? Like my first Star Trek was the animated series with,
Yep.
original series voice cast, which was cool and good writing. And then I got big into the Next Generation. But when there were Star Trek movies in the theater, I went to them.
Oh yeah. Yep. Uh, I've seen a fair number of the original series. It was fine. Next Generation was fine. My college roommates watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I never really got into it. I did really enjoy Deep Space Nine though.
Sure.
I watched a lot of that. It felt like Star Trek had finally grown up a little bit.
It was a lot grittier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I always had with Trek was that there was no people didn't act like people.
Yeah.
Like there was no infighting.
Which is one of the reasons the Orville is so good.
Yes.
Because those are people.
Yes, they are. I still need to catch up on this season. I've only watched the first episode this season, but yeah, I completely agree. I really dig the Orville.
I didn't get a chance to see this Top Gun in IMAX. It had been my goal to do that.
Yeah.
And I thought I was getting like tickets to go see it in the morning at like 10:30, but it was 10:30 p.m. I'm like, oh no, I can't do that.
Oh,
so
wow.
I changed out and just watched it on a regular screen.
Yeah.
Which was still really impressive. But this, I think, would be IMAX worthy.
Yeah, we don't have IMAX by us, but we have this ultra screen, which is just this gigantic screen. And yeah, it was fantastic to watch on that.
Well, for my IMAX viewing, I usually go over to Edwardsville.
Yeah.
To that one. And it's nice because I go to a matinee and there'll be like 6 people in this like 300 seat theater. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yep.
So you think they'll I don't know if Top Gun Maverick was a success or not. Do you think we'll get another Iron Eagle sequel off of this?
It was a gigantic success. Over $1 billion worldwide.
Nice.
So
we're going to get Iron Eagle 6. Is what you're saying?
Maybe. Is Louis Gossett Jr. still alive?
Oh.
I mean,
I
don't put it past him to put him in the volume and de-age him. Oh my God, he is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He is, let me do that math, 86 years old? No. Yeah.
It looks like he's got
86 years old.
2 things filming, 3 things in post, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the pipe.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Man is working. And some of these titles look like they could be military action films like A Scorched Earth or Capture the Flag.
Capture the Flag sounds like it could be an Iron Eagle sequel.
It could be. None of these say Chappie. A group of elderly vets engage in a spirited game of Capture the Flag for the privilege of raising Old Glory every morning in their community. Yep.
Oh my God. This cast.
Wow.
Dick Van Dyke, Barry Corbin, Lou Gossett Jr., John Amos, and Paul Dooley. Holy crap.
All right. I'm in.
Grumpy old veterans.
I liked, what was that one? Red?
Yes.
Old Assassins?
Yes.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Or, gosh, we did an old one with Sylvester Stallone too, right? Replacements? Is that what it was called?
Yep.
Yeah.
He is going to be in a superhero movie.
Sly?
Was it him or was I'm thinking Schwarzenegger? I mean, he's in Guardians. He's been in Guardians.
Right. And he's going to be in Guardians 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're playing games with Guardians. So when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I remember reading Guardians of the Galaxy in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not the Guardians of the Galaxy that I read. And I'm like, oh shit, are we gonna get those guys? Are we gonna get Vance Astro and Yandu and we got Yandu,
Mhm.
but like all the ones, Charlie 27, I think is his name. Like they have all these characters, and I'm like, oh fuck, are we gonna get those guys? And then like I see this, I don't know who any of these people are. Oh wait, there's Yandu, but I don't know who
Mhm.
any of the rest of these people are. Then Guardians 2 comes out and they start introducing these other older Ravagers, and I'm like, oh shit, I know who these guys are. I know who all these guys are. These are my Guardians.
I read an interesting thing about what was it? Oh, so they've got the new Guardians roller coaster at Epcot
Yep.
in Disney World. But like apparently all of this is because there's some like rights deal from pre-Disney with Marvel for theme park
Mm.
usage.
Yep.
And it's split West Coast, East Coast, which is why Avengers
Oh,
Campus is on the West Coast. And on the East Coast, Marvel Heroes are at Universal Studios because they got the rights.
yep.
And so you
Yep.
can't see Hulk wandering around Disney World. But you can see the Guardians because they
Right.
weren't included in this rights package.
Well, they wouldn't have existed, I don't believe, at the time the rights. This,
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
this version of the Guardians would have existed. They also, like, I was I was reading an article just earlier this week about the rights and how they used to keep track of the rights on spreadsheets because when Marvel went into bankruptcy, they
mhm,
they were just throwing them out wherever they could just to try to keep the company solvent. And they they did rights in a really weird way that now is what it's why everything's so fucked up with Sony, that they have the Spider-Man family of characters, and then they had the with Fox they had the X-Men family and
right.
the Fantastic Four family of characters, which is when it got really dicey when it was like, well, no, because we kept the rights to the Avengers, and then you have characters that are in both the X-Men and the Avengers,
Yeah.
which is why we had both Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in both movies.
Yep.
But there had to have been some kind of handshake deal on those because they each only got to keep one,
Mm-hmm.
which
It's so
I always
weird.
thought was funny.
And then like, is Silver Surfer a Fantastic Four character? I see it. Like I know that's how he started, but like
Yeah.
I think he's got his whole thing.
Oh, I
I
know.
read Silver Surfer and loved it as a kid. It's hard for me to remember why I liked it. Like now, and like when I think about him as a character, I'm like, this is a strange thing to have made into a comic book.
It is, but man, there were some really good runs of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was a big Silver Surfer fan
Oh, cool.
for a long time.
Yep,
Uh,
I was way into it. Like now, I can't quite remember why I liked it so much. I guess for me, it was through the '90s, up through the Infinity War crossover giant thing.
yep, I somewhere in the basement I have all those books.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have a lot of money worth of comic books in my basement right now.
Nice.
Because like I collected X-Men all through
Mm-hmm.
the the last half of the 80s and
Mm-hmm.
early
Yeah,
90s.
I read
Uh,
X Men, Uncanny X Men, and
yep,
then they did a new like X Men series that was maybe just X Men.
yep, yep. And that's when Chris Claremont left,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Loved
never the same
those.
after that.
Yeah, I loved the X Men.
Yep.
Those were great. And
Yeah,
I don't think I read the Wolverine standalone stuff. Like he wasn't my favorite. I liked the
he
other
was my
stuff.
favorite
I know, and
at the
like
time. Yeah.
everyone loved it, and I'm like, he's cool, but like I think I went into like some of the other like X Force and
Mm.
Excalibur and the various X spinoffs, the New
I
Mutant.
had all those. I had all those. I
I
was into
read the
all those.
Speedball limited run.
Yep. Yep.
Such a weird, and it got weirder somehow. I loved all that nonsense.
Yeah, Speedball was actually the impetus for the first Civil War.
Wow.
Yeah. Speedball, like the new war, like he became part of the New Warriors,
Uh huh.
and then the
I
New
remember that he had
Warriors
some like
did like
weird
a,
masochism thing going.
well, that happened after, like so he um Oh, by the way, if you were here for Top Gun, we're done with that probably at this point.
Oh, right.
um, but
Just cool
yeah,
your jets.
yeah, he did this. He did this thing. Well, they did this thing where they were like doing a reality TV show, and they were going to
Mhm.
attack these bad guys, and then something happened, and they ended up basically setting off a bomb, or a character was set off like a bomb or something like that in a school.
Mm.
And that's what, or near a school, near a playground. And I'm getting I know I'm going to get the details wrong, but that's what kind of kicked off the impetus for the Civil War. Why we need to register these superpowered people. We have these young people running around trying to do this for fame. We need to, we need controls on this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the Superhero Registration Act came out, and
Right,
and
right, right.
that's and that was the impetus for the first Civil War. So, but Speedball was kind of the one that started that. Like it was his action that caused it. And so then he became this character named Penance, and like put himself like inside an Iron Maiden or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
and like at that point I'm like, man, this is some weird shit.
I remember he was working with, I don't know, like a government team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that vaguely from my time.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, all that X-Men stuff, I was so deep into all that. And I think for me the reason I like Silver Surfer so much was just kind of that he was this tortured soul, like as a teenager, man, that was just like speaking to everything I was about. Like he had to give up himself to be the Herald of Galactus to save his planet, but by doing so he had to leave the woman he loved, and he had to do this noble sacrifice. And it was just, man, it was teenage bullshit. It was just like, man, they knew how to hit that audience hard, and I was sucked in deep.
Oh yeah,
And like
and he had a
that's
surfboard.
why I was it. That's what I was there for.
Mm-hmm. And the power cosmic and these galactic scale. I did love the cosmic heroes a lot. That was fun.
Yeah. So have you seen the Eternals?
Yeah, the
Okay.
movie.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
the post credit scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
When
are we
that
doing this?
wait, Pip the fucking troll? What? Wait, what? Of all the characters I never, ever, ever expected to see, all right, I'm here for Pip the troll.
Because
So
he like held an Infinity Stone for a while. He was in that like Infinity Squad with Adam Warlock,
yeah, yeah,
and we
him
set up
and
Adam Warlock in Guardians 2, maybe.
what he is a character in Guardians 3.
Okay, great.
Yeah, confirmed. The Will Poulter is playing him.
Right.
Yep.
I do remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So that's
He's
exciting.
I think so. Well, there was, I mean, it was Pip and Mantis
Uh-huh.
and Moondragon and um uh Star
Infinity
Fox,
Watch.
Star Fox, Arrow,
Uh-huh.
Star Fox, Harry Styles. Yeah. Yep. I'm Yeah, when that showed up, I'm like, are we doing the Infinity Watch now? Is that what's happening?
And like I wonder how many of these things after credits, other seeds in movies are you really gonna play out? Because we also did a little bit of Blade, a little bit of Black Knight. Like we got some stuff that can be happening, but Eternals, I don't feel like it did it well in the Marvel spectrum of films.
Uh I think it did fine, but I think it's going to matter more as it goes on, like as things go on. I think it's going to matter more. My bet is it's going to matter more after Guardians,
Mm,
just because of that cosmic level stuff.
right.
Um,
Well,
I have a feeling if any of those characters make it out of that, that's where we could see that's where we could see that show up again.
We might have more to talk about that next week,
We might.
right? I'm ready for Thor Saturday.
All right, we've got our tickets for Friday night. So,
Nice.
yep, yep. I want to do a sometime between now and then. I'm going to do a rewatch of Ragnarok, just to.
Are you not going to do Thor 2 Dark World?
It was on cable not too long ago, and I was like, and I put it on, and it was on for a few minutes, and I was like, I don't even remember what's happening here.
I watched it, maybe as much as a year ago because my kid and I went through and did them in timeline order and
Right.
watched all the films, including that one. But I mean, it was the last time we saw Jane Foster.
That's true. That's true. And I know they just released, I believe it's 3 more Legends episodes.
Oh,
So I think I might go watch those because I would assume Jane Foster's probably going to be amongst those.
Some review.
Yeah. Any predictions for what we'll see in Thor?
I think with Taika, we're gonna have superheroes being sort of not super, right? It's gonna be fun and
Sure.
it's gonna be quippy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only expecting a light touch for tying into larger arcs, right? Because I don't know that that's really his thing. But we'll see. We'll see what he gets to do. I mean, I think you have to work in the MCU.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that James Gunn was able to get away with a lot more because Guardians is a little more removed, and it's like, all right, we're gonna have to shoehorn you into the Infinity War stuff. And they did, and it was fine. But yeah, it's
right. I would be super excited if we saw some connection to the Loki series here. Right. And
I
I'm
know.
surprised we didn't get any of it in Doctor Strange.
I really am too. I really am as well.
Because I liked watching that show. And I felt like they
Though
were setting up to be important.
they released Marvel, the MCU, they released a new timeline of the
Oh,
MCU not too long ago. And yeah, June 8th. So, and what I found interesting, and I'm pulling it back up just to remind myself, um, like the order of things, um, they're including in this timeline um, the Netflix shows.
nice.
Yeah. Um, so like uh, the Netflix shows, Agents of Shield series.
Weird.
Yeah. Um, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Inhuman season 1.
Ooh.
But
Ooh.
we had that I mean, there is a tie to that in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Cloak and Dagger seasons 1 and 2 in here.
Oh man, I only watched the first season. I don't think I
I
caught the
actually
second
really
one.
liked that. I really did like that.
I mean, I read their comic. That was something I
I did
enjoyed the
too.
first season. I wonder if season just left my radar. And those they cross over with Runaways, right? And they mention in Cloak and Dagger Daredevil, so all those have some hooks.
Yeah. Season 3, Runaways. So this timeline has everything. So the first thing chronologically is Captain America, then Agent Carter stuff, then Captain Marvel, then Iron Man. Iron Man 1 and 2, the Hulk. Then like we'll just skip ahead because there are 83 items on this list. Yeah. Uh,
With like Moon Knight and
Endgame
Miss
is
Marvel.
number 71.
Phew.
Loki is number 72.
Yeah, well, yeah. That
Then
seems right.
What If? Then WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi, uh, Eternals, the two Spider-Man movies, which those kind of have to be next to each other since they
Mm-hmm.
do. Um,
Well,
Doctor
and then,
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, then Hawkeye, then Moon Knight, then Miss Marvel,
mhm.
and then everything else is TBA after that.
And like, what do we have upcoming? We got Thor.
We have Thor on Friday, the
Mhm.
July 8th, then She-Hulk on August 17th,
Very excited.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever on November 11th.
I'm nervous. I mean, I
I am
love Black
too.
Panther. It was my favorite.
I
But
am too,
like
but we're gonna introduce Atlantis. So I mean, they've already
Namor.
Namor,
Mhm.
Atalan, which is gonna be the bad guy. Which that's weird for me. I would have really liked to I would have rather seen Namor as the bad guy, to be honest. Um, let's see.
And then I know there's another.
The Guardians holiday special this December.
Oh, good.
I am really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania,
Yep.
February 17th next year.
That seems like that'll
Guardians
be a
3.
big kickoff movie for stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Guardians 3 is May 5th. So that's their free comic book day weekend
Nice.
release. And the Marvels, July 28th of next year.
Well, I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah, I am too, especially after Ms. Marvel.
I just saw the first episode of Miss Marvel tonight. I'm watching it with my
Oh,
kids, so we are a
yeah.
little
What did you
behind.
think?
Oh, it's super fun.
Yeah.
I like that Mitchell's versus Machines sort of animation and stuff that's going on.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. And like, I mean, her powers are totally different than what I known them to be, but like, I'm okay with this. It seems all right.
Well, we're kind of backing away from the Inhumans stuff.
Yeah.
The Inhumans and the Terrigen Mist, all that stuff. So that's
Right.
I'm okay with that.
This is fine.
I'm fine. So the things that have been announced that don't have a date yet.
Okay.
Secret Invasion.
And they definitely like hinted at that, right? With the Nick
Yeah.
Fury after credit scroll sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have a feeling Secret Invasion is not going to be what Secret Invasion was in the comic books. Because
Mhm.
Secret Invasion in the comic books, where the scrolls have been replacing people all throughout the world, and like it's an infiltration.
Right.
I have a feeling this Secret Invasion is chronologically going to be during the snap.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it's going to be how the scrolls came in and had Nick Fury and Colby Smothers, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. How they came in and kind of helped keep the world from going completely insane during the snap.
Right.
Which I think could be a fun story. Like they could do some interesting stuff with that.
Yeah. And they've kind of set up scrolls to be good guys.
Yes. Yeah. And then you could have like maybe the Kree are trying to invade during that time, and it's a Kree scroll fight, but the scrolls are the good guys because they're, I think there could be some fun stuff there. Blade.
I'm okay with another Blade.
Yep. Especially with Mahershala Ali.
Right. It's too bad we can't cross over with the Morbiverse.
Oh my God.
It's time.
Fantastic Four.
Again. We've had several attempts at Fantastic Four movies.
We've had 4 previous Fantastic Four movies.
It seems so obvious of what you need to do, and they just aren't doing it.
Well, I'm hoping now, fingers crossed. I mean, they've done so much good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like they've figured out the formula with especially with some of these shows
And
that
Kevin Feige
maybe.
seems to like have his finger on the pulse.
Yep. Yep. X-Men,
Ooh.
Deadpool 3,
All right then.
Ironheart.
Okay, so is my mind right that Ironheart is like a young girl Tony Stark?
Analog, yeah. Riri
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I watched some of the Marvel animation things
Yeah.
and she was in there.
Yeah. I almost wonder, like, I I wondered for a few minutes if they weren't going to change the character of Ironheart for the MCU because and it may have been different if we wouldn't have lost Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Like for a few minutes, I almost wondered if Shuri wouldn't fill that role of Ironheart
Mm,
if we wouldn't have lost Chadwick Boseman because he would be the forefront of any Black Panther movies, and then
right.
she could have kind of branched off and did filled in the Iron Man role because as a technologist, I mean that was kind of
Sure.
her gig in the first Black Panther movie.
Hmm. I wish that actress would stay off Twitter.
Oh my god, she's insane. Um, Armor Wars, Don
I've,
Cheadle.
yeah,
That's his big Iron Man movie. Um, Echo.
I don't know that.
Echo. So have you seen Hawkeye?
Yeah. Oh,
Echo
yeah.
is the character in Hawkeye.
Yep. Okay.
Um,
Getting a film.
Agatha.
Cool.
No, that's a series.
Oh, it's gonna be a series.
This is
Okay,
going to be
so
one of the that's
I
one of
gotcha.
the Disney Plus series. Agatha, House of Harkness.
I'm excited about that. Now, do you
Uh,
think that was their plan when they were starting WandaVision, or is it because she was so great in that role? They're like, let's do this.
I think maybe they started talking about it once they started seeing what she could do, and then probably the minute that song got released, they're like, yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah, because it's
It
fantastic.
was Agatha all along, and that needs to be the theme song to that series. It just does. I'm so good with that. Um, X-Men 97,
So weird, but I'm in.
What If season 2,
Okay.
which is actually the rest of What If season 1,
Uh,
because they had actually planned to do however many episodes, and then they're like, oh, we're running out of time. And then they realized they had hit a good stopping point, that narratively it worked
mhm.
for that, so they just cut it into 2 seasons.
I thought What If was a lot of fun. So
Uh-huh.
that's it.
Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is
Oh,
an animated, I believe it's an animated series.
interesting.
Yep. I Am Groot, which is shorts,
Oh, okay.
and then Marvel Zombies.
As a film or animated?
I'm I don't know. I don't think it's film. I'm pretty sure it's animated, but it could be an animated film to Disney Plus. I
Oh,
honestly don't know what the. Let me see if this is a link here.
I mean, I watch that. Honestly, I'm gonna watch all of them. I don't know why I'm
Yeah,
acting like they have to sell me.
right, exactly. So I did hear an interesting rumor this week about She-Hulk,
Uh-huh.
and that is that in so it She-Hulk is going to be a 10 episode series.
Mhm.
In the 8th episode of She-Hulk, it is rumored that she will be defending in a defamation case the ever loving blue-eyed thing.
Nice.
Yeah, and that it will be uh, played by Jason Segel.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I thought that was really weird too. But then, like, I thought about it for like 5 minutes, and it's like I'm okay with that. Like, I can see that.
Sure.
Like, I
Better
can
than the
see that
commish.
happen, right? I don't know. Michael Chiklis
Yeah,
is gold.
he is.
Vic Mackey.
Uh huh.
Anyway, so the rumor uh, continues that he will be in the 8th, 9th, and 10th episodes of the season, there will be at least one shot of him fighting side by side in costume with She-Hulk and Daredevil,
Oh my gosh.
and that in the in
Wow.
the 9th and 10th episodes, he will be fighting the Wrecking Crew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, like, as rumors go, that's a good rumor. Like, even if it's not true, man, it's a believable rumor.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm in.
It's as
Well,
believable as the rumor that Tom Cruise was going to play a variant Iron Man, and that never panned out either.
that's true.
But that was, I mean, like they announced it, and it was like, I buy it. I buy it. I believe he is as he can play a cocky enough bastard to be a variant Tony Stark.
Can we get a Donald Glover variant Spider-Man?
Oh my god.
I guess he's already in as
Prowler.
yeah, Prowler.
Yep.
If we
Yep.
ever get that to develop.
Yeah, if
All right.
I've often said that if they do decide to fully split Sony off from the regular MCU, what they should do is kill the Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU and let him go over to Sony and still be Tom Holland Spider-Man, Peter Parker in Sony,
Uh-huh.
but have the MCU develop Miles.
Yeah.
I think that would be really great. And that way you could still live with both of those characters
Mm-hmm.
and still make movies and have fun with it.
Spider-Verse movie was really good.
It really was. It
And now
really, really
the
was.
next one is a two-parter.
Yes. Yes.
I'm still in.
Right. Right. And then there's a rumor that Andrew Garfield has signed on for more
I
live
saw that
action
rumor
Spider-Man
as
movies.
well.
Yep.
Which, okay. I mean, okay, he was really great in this No Way Home.
He was not the worst part of the movies that he was in.
Nope.
He did a fine job being Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. It's the writing that had the trouble.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. We've talked for quite some time.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll have lots more Marvel comic book talk next week.
Next week, yeah. All right. Next week, we're going to talk about Thor, Love, and Thunder.
Woo.
And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Yay. Bye.